Arctic ice is shrinking at a record pace.
Philips is a Dutch multinational conglomerate corporation. The company was founded on May 15, 1891 in Eindhoven, Netherlands by Gerard and Anton Philips, and to this very day, the company is still alive and healthy. So, how did it become so popular? Let's find out. The Philips company was founded in 1891 by Dutch-Jewish entrepreneur Gerard Philips and his father, Frederik Philips. Frederik, a banker based in Zaltbommel, financed the purchase and setup of an empty factory building in Eindhoven, where the company started the production of carbon filament lamps and other electrotechnical products in 1892. The first factory has since been adapted and is used as a museum. In 1895, after a difficult first years and near bankruptcy, the Philipses brought in Anton, Gerard's younger brother by 16 years. Though he had earned a degree in engineering, Anton started working as a sales representative. Soon, however, he began to contribute many important business ideas. With Anton's arrival, the family business began to expand rapidly, resulting in the founding of Philips Metal Glolampen Fabrik and V. Philips Metal Filament Lamp Factory in Eindhoven in 1908, followed in 1912 the foundation of Philips Glolampen Fabriken and V. Philips Light Bulb Factories Limited. After Gerard and Anton Philips changed their family business by founding the Philips Corporation, they laid the foundations for the later electronics multinational. In the 1920s, the company started to manufacture other products, such as vacuum tubes. In 1939, they introduced their electric razor, the Philishave, marketed in the US using the Norelco brand name. The Chapel is a radio with a built-in loudspeaker, which was designed during the early 1930s. Philips Radio. On March 11, 1927, Philips went on the air with shortwave radio station PCJJ, later PCJ, which was joined in 1929 by a sister station, Philips Omroep Holland India, later PHI. PHOHI broadcasted in Dutch into the Dutch East Indies, now Indonesia, and later PHI broadcast in English and other languages to the Eastern Hemisphere, while PCJJ broadcast in English, Spanish, and German to the rest of the world. The international program Sundays commenced in 1928 with host Eddie Starts, hosting the Happy Station show, which became the world's longest-running shortwave program. Broadcasts from the Netherlands were interrupted by the German invasion in May 1940. The Germans commandeered the transmitters in Heisen to use for pro-Nazi broadcasts, some originating from Germany, other concerts from Dutch broadcasters under German control. Philips Radio was absorbed shortly after liberation, when its two shortwave stations were nationalized in 1947 and renamed Radio Netherlands Worldwide, the Dutch International Service. Some PCJ programs, such as the Happy Station, continued on the new station. Stirling Engine. Philips was instrumental in the revival of Stirling Engine when, in the early 1930s, the management decided that offering a low-power portable generator would assist in expanding sales of its radios into parts of the world where mains electricity was unavailable and the supply of batteries uncertain. Engineers at the company's research lab carried out a systematic comparison of various power sources and determined that the almost forgotten Stirling engine would be most suitable, citing its quiet operation both audibly and in terms of radio interference and ability to run on a variety of heat sources. Common lamp oil, cheap and available everywhere, was favored. They were also aware that, unlike steam and internal combustion engines, virtually no serious development work had been carried out on the Stirling engine for many years and asserted that modern materials and know-how should enable great improvements. Encouraged by their first experimental engine, which produced 16 watts of shaft power from a bore and stroke of 30 millimeters by 25 millimeters, various development models were produced in a program which continued throughout World War II. By the late 1940s, the Type 10 was ready to be handed over to Philips subsidiary Johan de Witt, Dordrecht, to be produced and incorporated into a generator set as originally planned. The result rated at 180 by 200 watts electrical output from a bore and stroke of 55 millimeters by 27 millimeters was designated MP102CA, known as the bungalow set. Production of an initial batch of 250 began in 1951, but it became clear that they could not be made at a competitive price. Besides, the advent of transistor radios with their much lower power requirements meant that the original rationale for the set was disappearing. Approximately 150 of these sets were eventually produced. In parallel with the generator set, Philips developed experimental Stirling engines for a wide variety of applications and continued to work in the field until the late 1970s. Through the only commercial success was the reverse Stirling engine cryocooler. However, they filed a large number of patents and amassed a wealth of information, which they later licensed to other companies. Shavers. The first Philips shaver was introduced in the 1930s and was simply called Philishave. In the US, it was called Norlico. The Philishave has remained part of the Philips product lineup until the present. World War II. On May 9, 1940, the Philips directors learned that the German invasion of the Netherlands was to take place the following day. Having prepared for this, Anton Philips and his son-in-law, Franz Otten, as well as other Philips family members, fled to the United States, taking a large amount of the company capital with them. Operating from the U.S. at the North American Philips Company, they managed to run the company throughout the war. At the same time, the company was moved on paper to the Netherlands Antilles to keep it out of German hands. On December 6, 1942, the British No. 2 group RAF undertook Operation Oyster, which heavily damaged the Philips radio factory in Eindhoven, with few casualties among the Dutch workers and civilians. The Philips work in Eindhoven was bombed again by the RAF on March 30th, 1943. Fritz Philips, the son of Anton, was the only Philips family member to stay in the Netherlands. He saved the lives of 382 Jews by convincing the Nazis that they were indispensable for the production process at Philips. In 1943, he was held at the internment camp for political prisoners at Vught for several months because a strike at his factory reduced production. For his actions in saving the hundreds of Jews, he was recognized by Yad Vashem in 1995 as a righteous among the nations. 1945 to 1999. After the war, company was moved back to the Netherlands with their headquarters in Eindhoven. In 1949, the company began selling television sets. In 1950, it formed Philips Records, which eventually formed part of the Polygram in 1962. Philips introduced the compact audio cassette tape in 1963, and it was widely successful. Compact cassettes were initially used for dictation machines for office typing stenographers and professional journalists. As their sound quality improved, cassettes would be used to record sound and became the second mass media alongside vinyl records used to sell recorded music. Philips introduced the first combination portable radio and cassette recorder which was marketed as the radio recorder, and it is now better known as the boombox. Later, the cassette was used in a telephone answering machines, including a special form of cassette where the tape was wound on an endless loop. The C cassette was used as the first mass storage device for early personal computers in the 1970s and 1980s. Philips reduced the cassette size for professional needs with the mini cassette, although it would not be as successful as the Olympus micro cassette. This became the predominant dictation medium up to the advent of fully digital dictation machines. Philips continued with computers through the early 1990s. In 1972, Philips launched the world's first home video cassette recorder in the UK, the 1500. Its relatively bulky video cassettes could record 30 minutes or 45 minutes. Later, 1-hour tapes were also offered. As the competition came from Sony's Betamax and the VHS group of manufacturers, Philips introduced the N1700 system, which allowed double-length recording. For the first time, a 2-hour movie could fit onto one video cassette. In 1977, the company unveiled a special promotional film for this system in the UK, featuring comedy writer and presenter Dennis Norton. The concept was quickly copied by the Japanese makers, whose tapes were significantly cheaper. Philips made one last attempt at a new standard for video recorders with the Video 2000 system, with tapes that could be used on both sides, and had 8 hours of total recording time. As Philips only sold its systems in the PAL standard and in Europe, and the Japanese makers sold globally, the scale advantages of the Japanese proved insurmountable, and Philips withdrew the V2000 system and joined the VHS coalition. Philips had developed a Laserdisc early on for selling movies, but delayed its commercial launch for fear of cannibalizing its video recorder sales. Later, Philips joined with MCA to launch the first commercial Laserdisc standard and players. In 1982, Philips teamed with Sony to launch the compact disc. This format evolved into the CDR, CDRW, DVD, and later Blu-ray, which Philips launched with Sony in 1997 and 2006 respectively. In 1984, Dutch Philips Group bought out nearly a 1/3 share and took over the management of the German company Grundig. In 1984, Philips split off its activities on the field of photolithographic integrated circuit production equipment, the so-called wafer steppers, into a joint venture with ASM International located in Eindhoven under the name ASML. Over the years, this new company has evolved into the world's leading manufacturer of chip production machines at the expense of competitors like Nikon and Canon. Philips partnered with Sony again later to develop a new interactive disc format called CDI, described by them as new way of interacting with a television set. Philips created the majority of CDI compatible players. After low sales, Philips repositioned the format as a video game console, but it was soon discontinued after being heavily criticized amongst the gaming community. In the 1980s, Philips' profit margin dropped below 1%, and in 1990, the company lost more than $2 billion, biggest corporate loss in Dutch history. Troubles for the companies continued into the 1990s, as its status as a leading electronics company was swiftly lost. In 1991, the company's name was changed from NV, Philips Conglomerate Fabriken, to Philips Electronics NV. At the same time, North American Philips was formally dissolved, and a new corporate division was formed in the US with the name Philips Electronics North America Corporated. In 1997, the company officers decided to move the headquarters from Eindhoven to Amsterdam, along with the corporate name change of Kleinengeik, Philips Electronics NV, the latter of which was finalized on March 16, 1998. In 1998, looking to spur innovation, Philips created an emerging business group, Forward Semiconductors Unit, based in Silicon Valley. The group was designed to be an incubator where promising technologies and products could be developed. 2000s. The move of the headquarters to Amsterdam was completed in 2001. Initially, the company was housed in the Remembrance Tower. In 2002, it moved again, this time to the Brettener Tower. Philips Lighting, Philips Research, Philips Semiconductors spun off as NXP in September 2006, and Philips Design are still based in Eindhoven. Philips Healthcare is headquartered in both Best Netherlands, near Eindhoven, and Andover, Massachusetts, United States, near Boston. In 2000, Philips bought Optivia Corporation, the maker of Sony Care Electric toothbrushes. The company was renamed Philips Oral Healthcare and made a subsidiary of Philips DAP. In 2001, Philips acquired Agilent Technologies Healthcare Solutions Group (HSG) for 2 billion euros. Philips created a computer monitors joint venture with LG called LG Philips Displays in 2001. In 2001, after growing the unit's emerging businesses group to nearly $1 billion in revenue, Scott A. McGregor was named the new president and CEO of Philips Semiconductors. McGregor's appointment completed the company's shift to having dedicated CEOs for all 5 of the company's product divisions, which would in turn leave the board of management to concentrate on issues confronting the Philips Group as a whole. In 2004, Philips abandoned the slogan, "Let's make things better," in favor of a new one, "Sense and Simplicity." In December 2005, Philips announced its intention to sell or demerge its semiconductor division. On September 1st, 2006, it was announced in Berlin that the name of the new company formed by the division would be NXP Semiconductors. On August 2nd, 2006, Philips completed an agreement to sell a controlling 80.1% stake in NXP Semiconductors to a consortium of private equity investors consisting of Kohlberg, Kravis Roberts and Company KKR, Silver Lake Partners, and Alpeninvest Partners. On August 21st, 2006, Bain Capital and Apax Partners announced they had signed definitive commitments to join the acquiring consortium, a process which was completed on October 1st, 2006. In 2006, Philips bought out the company Lifeline Systems, headquartered in Framingham, Massachusetts, in a deal valued at $750 million, its biggest move yet to expand its consumer health business M. In August 2007, Philips acquired the company Iximus Incorporated, headquartered in El Paso, Texas, for their medical informatics division. In October 2007, it purchased a Moore microprocessor patent MPP portfolio license from the TPL Group. On December 21st, 2007, Philips and Reprogronics Incorporated announced a definitive agreement pursuant to which Philips acquired all of the outstanding shares of Reprogronics for 66 US dollars per share, or a total purchase price of approximately 3.6 billion euros, which is 5.1 billion US dollars in cash. On February 21st, 2008, Philips completed the acquisition of VISICU in Baltimore, Maryland, through the merger of its indirect wholly owned subsidiary into VISICU. As a result of that merger, VISICU has become an indirect wholly subsidiary of Philips. VISICU was the curator of the EICU concept of the use of telemedicine from a centralized facility to monitor and health and care for ICU patients. The Philips Physics Laboratory was scaled down in the early 21st century as the company ceased trying to be innovative in consumer electronics through fundamental research. 2010s. Philips made several acquisitions during 2011, announcing on January 5, 2011 that it had acquired Optimum Lighting, a manufacturer of LED-based luminaries. In January 2011, Philips agreed to acquire the assets of Preeti, a leading India-based kitchen appliances company. On June 27, 2011, Philips acquired Sectra Mammom AB, the mammography division of Sectra AB. Because net profit slumped 85% in Q3 2011, Philips announced a cut of 4,500 jobs to match part of an $800 million, which is $1.1 billion, cost-cutting scheme to boost profits and meet its financial target. In 2011, the company posted a loss of 1.3 billion euros, but earned a net profit in Q1 and Q2 2012. However, the management wanted 1.1 billion euros, cost-cutting which was an increase from 800 million euros and may cut another 2,200 jobs until the end of 2014. In March 2012, Philips announced its intention to sell or demerge its television manufacturing operations to TPV Technology. Following 2 decades in decline, Philips went through a major restructuring, shifting its focus from electronics to healthcare, particularly from 2011 when a new CEO was appointed, Frans van Houten. The new healthcare and medical strategy have helped Philips to thrive again in the 2010s. On December 5, 2012, the antitrust regulators of the European Union fined Philips and several other major companies for fixing prices of TV cathode ray tubes in 2 cartels lasting nearly a decade. On January 29, 2013, it was announced that Philips had agreed to sell its audio and video operations to the Japan-based Fune Electric for 150 million euros, with the audio business planned to transfer into Fune in the latter half of 2013 and the video business in 2017. As part of the transaction, Fune was to pay a regular licensing fee to Philips for the use of the Philips brand. The purchase agreement was terminated by Philips in October because of breach of contract, and the consumer electronics operations remain under Philips. Philips said it would seek damages for breach of contract in the 200 million US dollar sale. In April 2016, the International Court of Arbitration ruled in favor of Philips, awarding compensation of 135 million euros in the process. In April 2013, Philips announced a collaboration with Paradox Engineering for the realization and implementation of a pilot project on network-connected street lighting management solutions. This project was endorsed by the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission, SFPUC. In 2013, Philips removed the word electronics from its name, becoming Royal Philips NV. On November 13, 2013, Philips unveiled its new brand line, Innovation and You, a new design of its shield mark. The new brand positioning is cited by Philips to signify the company's evolution and emphasize that innovation is only meaningful if it is based on the understanding of people's needs and desires. On April 28, 2014, Philips agreed to sell their WOOX Innovation subsidiary Consumer Electronics to Gibson Brands for 135 million US dollars. On September 23, 2014, Philips announced a plan to split the company into 2, separating the lighting business from the healthcare and consumer lifestyle divisions. It moved to complete this in March 2015 to an investment group of $3.3 billion. In February 2015, Philips acquired Volcano Corporation to strengthen its position in non-invasive surgery and imaging. In June 2016, Philips spun off its lighting division to focus on the healthcare division. In June 2017, Philips announced it would acquire US-based Spectranaries Corporation, a manufacturer of devices to treat heart disease, for 1.9 billion euros, which is 1.68 billion pounds, expanding its current image-guided therapy business. In May 2016, Philips Lighting division, Philips Lighting, went through a spin-off process and became an independent public company named Philips Lighting NV. In 2017, Philips launched Philips Ventures with a health technology venture fund as its main focus. Philips Ventures invested in companies including Mytonomy 2017 and Deer Health 2019. In 2018, the independent Philips Lighting NV was renamed Signify NV. However, it continues to produce and market Philips branded products such as Philips Hue color-changing LED light bulbs. And there's the history of Philips. How did it become so popular? Well, I would have to say it has to be with all that technology that they made, because Philips has been part of the technology, I guess, business for a very long time. They made stuff like the Philips CDI, which we know wasn't that much of a big success. That was kind of a thing that they were working on with Nintendo, and we know that didn't really go out too well, but Philips has made some very successful products. Like, for me, I actually used to own a Philips CRT television screen, believe it or not. I actually used to have one in my house a very long time ago. But anyways, this is where I'm going to end off this video. If you guys haven't enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the like button. And also don't forget to subscribe. We do videos every single day. And also don't forget to ring that notification bell so you never miss a single video that I upload. And also don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell on my second channel. My second channel will be the third link in the description below. And if you guys like to send me fan art, you guys can send me fan art on my Instagram. My Instagram will be the second link in the description below. And if you guys like to join my Roblox fan group, my Roblox fan group will be the first link in the description below. And if you guys like to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter will be the fourth link in the description below. And if you guys like to follow me on Reddit, my Reddit will be the fifth link in the description below. And if you guys like to follow me on TikTok, my TikTok will be the sixth link in the description below. And if you guys would like to check out my Facebook page will be the seventh link in the description below. And until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!